I think we could all use a little action in our lives right now. That sounded weird. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking 5 action-centric movies on Netflix for you guys to watch right now. And obviously, not talking every action movie. I picked 5 that I think are interesting, a bit diverse, bring something else to the table that the other one doesn't. But I need you in the comments section down below. What is a movie that I did not mention that is worth others watching on Netflix? And if you want some more options, be sure to go down in the comments, because it's honestly been my favorite part of doing these videos. I go down there, I'm like, y'all doing good. And if you enjoy this want to watch on Netflix series, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. And we will continue to do this until people finally get to leave the house. Okay, so let's start off with something a bit simple. It's a bit obvious, but you know what? I've never had the opportunity to talk about Lethal Weapon on this channel. And you may be surprised in seeing that a lot of people, especially the younger folk, have not seen Lethal Weapon. I was telling my brother the other day, you know, Lethal Weapon's on Netflix. He's like, what? So you have 2 newly paired cops who are complete opposites, who must put aside their differences in order to catch a gang of drug smugglers. Now, you hear that premise now, and it sounds like, oh, we've seen that movie 1,000 times. It's just another buddy cop film, this and that. But I truly believe that a lot of the buddy cop movies that we get today take notes from Lethal Weapon and what Lethal Weapon did so well. You have Mel Gibson, you have Danny Glover, and the way that they work off of each other in this movie and in this franchise. See, we don't only have Lethal Weapon 1 on Netflix, but we have Lethal Weapons 1, 2, 3, 4, everything, encompassing the entire series. So honestly, my first choice here could take up your entire day if you just want to binge through all of the movies. And not everyone lives up to the first, no, but if we're talking the original, the OG 1987, Lethal Weapon does it right. You have a really solid direction from Richard Donner, hilarious, and I mean hilarious scenes. Mel Gibson is so funny in this movie. Danny Glover is just incredible, probably my favorite role of his. And everything about the way that these two play off of each other keep the film rolling. The pacing is fantastic, and by the time you get to the end, you're like, well, I feel a few cliches here and there, but you have to look at it. Once again, this movie created those cliches because other movies have tried, but most of them have not lived up to the goodness, the greatness of the Lethal Weapon franchise. Now we're going to flash forward all the way to 2013 and talk about a film that not everyone loves. So obviously, every movie that I speak upon is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and I understand that. And Olympus Has Fallen didn't get the best reviews when it dropped. But I personally, this is more of a personal choice, I personally find a lot of fun within Olympus Has Fallen. Don't watch this film for the character depth. Don't watch this film for, seeing something brand new that we've never seen before. You have Gerard Butler, who is awesome in this franchise. Really, I just don't know if the sequels lived up to the first movie, but he is a disgraced Secret Service agent who finds himself trapped in the White House in the wake of a terrorist attack and works with national security to rescue the president from kidnappers. You have Aaron Eckhart, you have Morgan Freeman, and it's a fun movie, man. It's a fun movie that you may have to turn your brain off to. It's a fun movie that is not going to hit everyone in the right way. But if you're in the mood for an easy-to-watch film about a guy who just wants to, 1, make his way out of this situation, 2, give his life basically for the president and those he's trying to protect, it's almost reminding me as I'm watching of Die Hard. And I'm not comparing this film to Die Hard because obviously that has a bit more depth to it, but it's the closest thing I believe we've gotten to a modern-day Die Hard, even counting the sequels to Die Hard itself. So if you want to see a really fun action movie, Gerard Butler, he is like the definitive B-level, sometimes A-level action star of the 2000s. I think this is the perfect one for you. I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys, and I'm curious to see how many people have watched Kung Fu Hustle. This movie is so much fun. It's been a bit since I've been able to watch it, so who knows? It may not hold up, but as far as I remember, I had so much fun watching Kung Fu Hustle. So in Shanghai, China, in the 1940s, a wannabe gangster aspires to join a notorious axe gang, while residents of a housing complex exhibit extraordinary powers in defending their turf. You have Stephen Chow as the director here, and the cast is spectacular because, one, they embrace the fact that this is kind of a comedic fantasy-like, not a spoof, but they play on things in more of a joking manner than what you would expect, especially when you're watching these action scenes play out, and just incredible. Some of the best choreography, some of the best stunt work of the mid-2000s. It is phenomenal, and in that vein, I believe this movie is underrated because I just don't think enough people talk about Kung Fu Hustle and its impact on the industry, one, but two, how much fun this film brings to the table. It is incredible to watch this entire thing play out, and some of the best, like I said, stunt work I've ever seen. But to see what these men are able to do in this movie is something else. So if you like movies like The Raid, if you love the Jackie Chan films of old, this is kind of a mixture of the two. The plot maybe isn't the most memorable plot I've ever seen, but as it's playing out, you don't care because you're having so much freaking fun with it. Kung Fu Hustle is probably the most fun choice on this list. But another movie that brings a lot of fun, also it goes hard in the comedy. This is Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. How you doing? It's the Adam McKay-directed film, The Other Guy. So two mismatched New York City detectives seize an opportunity to step up like the city's top cops, whom they idolize. Only things do not go as planned. And these two guys, we talk about the buddy cop formula that something like Lethal Weapon brought, and this is much more of a comedy than Lethal Weapon. But they play off of each other so well. That's why I was excited to see their next project together, and that wasn't as good as this. But I'm a big fan of The Other Guys. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm going to keep saying that. But if you want a good laugh plus the action, because it does not refrain from doing that, you also have Samuel L. Jackson and The Rock in this movie. And if you've seen the film, you know where that leads. But they bring the action, and they are kind of the top cops that start out with this situation. And it's clearly going to get ridiculous because you have Adam McKay and Will Ferrell working together. And while Will Ferrell is hilarious as you expect him to be, or used to expect, because recently, not so much. But Mark Wahlberg, man, he comes very close to Will Ferrell in terms of comedy. He gives a great performance. It's not a film you have to think too hard about. You kind of turn your brain off in a different vein of Olympus Has Fallen. But if you want a good laugh, plus the action, because the action is absolutely there, I think The Other Guys could be the movie for you. And the final film we're talking about is another obvious choice, but I'm trying to choose movies I've not had the chance to talk about on this channel that are available for you. This is Minority Report starring Tom Cruise. In my opinion, a massively underrated Steven Spielberg film. He brings it in terms of the visuals, but the action is at the forefront. So in a future where a special police unit is able to arrest murderers before they commit crimes, an officer from that unit is himself accused of a future murder. Just that concept. I mean, how do you not botch this, right? It just seems like one of those movies that is going to completely fall flat, but Steven Spielberg, this is what he does. He takes advantage of every opportunity he gets to bring something different and new to the table, and that's what I think Minority Report did. This is actually the one that I'm going to go watch later on because, one, it's been a bit since I've watched it. Two, every time I watch it, I feel like I get more from it, from Colin Farrell's performance, who is awesome in this film, to Tom Cruise being just a BA action star and really living up to how we perceive him today from his incredible stunt work that he does now. But Minority Report is Spielberg doing something different. He's definitely veering into sci-fi-ish territory, but it's also a mystery, it's also a crime movie, but at the forefront, and the first genre on IMDb, is action, because it's action-heavy, action-centric, some of the coolest set pieces I've ever seen in a Steven Spielberg film, and it's one that just doesn't get talked about enough when people mention his movies, and that's because he has a wide array of incredible films. You have Jaws, you have Schindler's List, you have Jurassic Park, but Minority Report, in my opinion, is definitely in his top 10. Top 10, Austin? That's not saying much. He's Steven Spielberg. So this is a film that I can't wait to go watch again. And if you're in the mood for something that's going to make you think, and it's not Schindler's List making you think, but it's making you think about this premise. What if we could tell who was going to commit a murder in the future? That's an incredible concept. So you have bunch of Lethal Weapons, but really 5 action-heavy films that are on Netflix right now that I believe are worth a watch. So let me know down below. This is a more obvious list, I feel, but have you seen all 5 of these films? Out of the 5, which one is your favorite? And I'd love to hear some more action-heavy recommendations. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy this series, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I will do more. I'm excited to talk more Netflix. I'll see you soon.